What is Sundara? Sundara.
Beautiful.
Sundara Alpa.
Beautiful, small, and then,
So Sundara Alpa Dhenur.
yeah, the cow.
Okay, now repeat Sundara Alpa Dhenur and then tell me the definition.
Sundara Alpa Dhenur, small, beautiful cow or beautiful, small cow.
Okay. Vapya. What is Vapya?
From the river. Shalamapi But. So drink water.
Okay, good. So how about Sundara Alpa Dhenuhu Jalam Apibat? Repeat and then tell me the definition.
Sundara Alpa Dhenur Vapya Shalamapi But. Beautiful little cow or small cow. Drink water from the pond.
Good. So now we know that Vapya is
Ablative.
good.
Atmanam, self.
Say again the word.
Atmanam,
Atmanam. Atmanam.
Atmanam, Buddhatva.
Okay, how about this? How about that?
Buddhva.
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 Not preferable, this one.
Atmanam, Buddhva.
English?
Having known self.
Good. Having known self. Yep. And then up to here.
Sa will be he. Karma akarmasya.
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 Okay.
Sa karma will be action and inaction.
Okay, now what would the whole compound say, considering there's a sya at the end?
Sya is genitive.
Good.
So of the action and inaction.
Good, yep. Of action and inaction. Okay. And then hetum. What is hetum?
Hetum will be the accusative of hetu. Cause.
Good. So hetum, cause, yep. And you
Andre?
write this. Yes.
Can we use karanam instead of hetu?
Karanam, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then
Avagachat.
Yep.
Understood.
Understood. Good. So how about just from sa and then read the whole thing in Sanskrit and then English.
Sa karma akarmasya hetum avagachat. He action and inaction cause understood.
Okay, good. Now how about just from sa straight into avagachat?
He understood.
He understood what?
The cause.
Of what?
Of action and inaction.
Read the whole thing in Sanskrit and then English.
Atmanam buddhatva sa karma akarmasya hetum avagachat. Having known self, he understood the cause of action and inaction.
What's the context of this next few minutes? The context is we are learning compounds. We are done with compounds of volume 1. What I'm about to show you now belongs to volume 2. So we are priming the mind so that volume 2 will be decently familiar when it comes to compounds. Just a quick bird's eye view. Group 1, Dvandva. Group 2, Tatpurusha. Group 3, Bahu Vrihi. Please repeat. Group 1, Dvandva. Group 2, Tatpurusha. Group 3, Bahu Vrihi. Bahu means much rice. We're going to talk about much rice compound. And number 4 is Avyayi Bhava. We have done Dvandva. All members are important in a Dvandva, are they not, Manish?
Yes.
And the first member is Itaretara. Give us an example of Itaretara, Shiva.
Rama Site.
The second is Samahara.
Sukha Dukham.
Tatpurusha, second member is important. Okay, number 1, case TP, Vyadhikarana. Repeat, Vyadhikarana.
Ramaputraha.
Son of, was that a Gen TP?
Yeah.
KD, Karmadharaya. Klamala, meaning what?
White garland.
In lesson 19, volume 2, the first chapter of volume 2 will be Upapada. Repeat, Upapada. The last member is formed from verb root. And it's declined like a noun. In other words, you always take on the Nara, Pala, and Sena paradigm. So note, TPU only takes Nara, Pala, Sena, luckily. TPU equals adjective. In other words, TPU describes a noun. Okay, so you got TPU, greenery, and then obviously you got the second member, what's actually, second word, which will be noun. And this TPU consists of obviously member 1 plus member 2, which will be the verb root. And then the final would be declension according to Nara, Pala, or Sena. Okay, so this whole thing is a TPU. Okay, example. Sattva meaning what? Purity, right? Sta, that's a verb root. We just talked about the verb roots now. Sta, how do you know because I will put a little Nike sign there, sta. So sattva sta. So that's an adjective, right? If you put it together, sattva sta. And then you can call that a stem, right? It hasn't been declined yet. There's no Nara, Pala, Sena at the end yet. Right? So it's just pure form, sattva sta. Established in purity, to be established in, to stand in, to remain in. Sta.
Or fixed in. We can
Yeah,
say.
or fixed in, good, yeah. Fixed in purity, established in purity, standing in purity. Now remember, there's no like sattva ste, right? You're not declining it yet. This is just the whole thing literally means established in purity. Man established in purity. So naraha asti, right? Naraha asti. Sattva staha naraha. Notice how aha. Sattva staha naraha. In other words, the adjective is qualifying the man, because we just said TPU equals adjective. Therefore, man is established in purity. Of course, you got an asti there at the end, right? Woman established in purity. Let's use nari. Sattva sta, as I said, it takes the Sena paradigm. Sattva sta nari.
Instead of a man and a woman, if it was a bhalam, so would it become sattvastam phalam?
Sattvastam palam, correct. Okay, shastra, scripture plus nya. Shastrajna, so that's just pure stem form adjective right here. Knower of Shastra. So nya, to know, knower of Shastra. Now again, how do you know it's really off? Knower, you could say knower in the Shastra. Well, there's a little bit of context here also, but also the predefined definition, which is knower of the Shastra. How about knower of the book? Knower of the book.
Pustaka Nya.
Panta.
Krishna Rama Staha.
Knowers of the scriptures.
Shastranya.
Shastrajnao. How about Shastrajnao? Because
Yeah.
how many knowers? How many
Two.
knowers? Two
Two.
knowers. So therefore, what are we going to decline this, Melanie?
As the Nara paradigm in the dual,
And why is it Nara and not Pala?
because it's masculine, not neuter,
Good. It's qualifying Rama.
qualifying masculine nouns.
Yeah, it's qualifying the preceding noun, which is in this case Rama. How about Krishna and Sita are knowers of the scriptures? Manish?
Krishna Site.
Krishna Sita. So now you have to decline Nya according to feminine, because Sita is the last one. Yeah, Shastrajne. And why is it A at the end for Shastrajne?
Because the dual is Sene.
Yeah, in other words, you're qualifying two, right? You're
Sita.
qualifying two of them.
Qualifying Sita in Sena paradigm.
Good. The fruit and the book are knowers of the scriptures. Phala, Pustake, Shastrajne, Tatpurusha has how many? Six. We've done three more. Okay, number 4. Samasan just means antonym. This is actually nothing new. Okay, it just basically means put a or an an in front of a word, right? To negate it. It's simple. For example, typical, atypical, right? English. Same thing in Sanskrit. Vidya, avidya, right? Knowledge and ignorance, knowledge or ignorance. So all we did was put the little pinky in front, right, of a word, and we turned it into a opposite, into a antonym. Gerund. Agamya is having come, right? Okay, how do you negate agamya? Look at the pinky, please. If there's a vowel, then do not use agamya. You have to put a an in front. Anagamya. Action, inaction. Cannot negate verbs. You cannot put a or an an in front of a verb. You cannot say gone. You cannot say Ramaha gachati, Ramaha agachati. And also note, above a prefix is different from the a prefix used in imperfect verbs. So you know when we say imperfect past tense, right? Ramaha agachat, right? Now this a is not the same as this a here. So it's just saying these a's, don't confuse them. Rule: if a word begins with a vowel, negate with an. Simple. Vowel is what? What are vowels? Tell me some vowels, Rani.
A, E, U.
So if a word starts with these letters that just Rani is enunciated, then use a an. For example, uditwa, having spoken. An uditwa. Why is it an? Because there's a vowel. Number 5 of Tat Purusha. Pradi is just a fancy name for prefix plus noun. For example, anu. So we learned these prefixes on page 197, if you remember. So svara is sound, after sound. Anusvaraha. We obviously decline it as usual. So whole compound is used as a nominal. What is a nominal? A fancy name for noun. So it's going to be a noun, not an adjective this time. It's going to be a noun. So summary, you don't have to really know what is this called, Pradi, right? You just have to know this. Prefix plus noun. That's it. Next one, gati. Again, same thing as number 5, no difference. Prefix plus noun. I don't know why they gave 2 different names for the same thing.
The difference that the gati compound isn't, like we're not using the prefixes given by Panini.
Oh, I get it. Good. So this is Michael's intelligence is now inspiring me.
Because I already did book, well, part of book 2. So
Oh, good. Panini's 20 plus minus prefixes, whereas gati is kind of like an indeclinable plus a noun, an indeclinable in the form of a prefix. So Tat Purusha is done, all 6 of them. Bahu Vrihi. All members are equally important. So whatever is inside, whether it's member 1, member 2, member 3, whether the whole thing is 1 word or 5 words, all of them matter a lot in order to give the meaning of the entire compound. Implied meaning, Harry was a redcoat. What are we saying when we say Harry was a redcoat? We could either imply Harry was one whose coat is red. Hey, redcoat. Or British soldier. Now, where do you find British soldier in redcoat? Nowhere. Therefore, it is implied meaning according to the context of the text that you are working with.
Something like metaphor.
Metaphor, yeah, or analogy, or teaching contained within the compound. Compound is always an adjective, number 1. In other words, it's going to be describing a noun, right? It's describing a noun outside the compound. In other words, the thing which the Bahu Vrihi describes will be outside the compound, even outside the sentence, even outside the entire book. What's more, the last member will take identical declension of the noun which is outside that it's describing. So Bahu Vrihi, it's going to decline according to some noun that is nowhere to be found in the entire book or the entire sentence or the entire paragraph. So what does this mean? It will be a paradigm violation, right? So this means now if you end with a sena, right? This could end into a senasya, right? Because you're describing something that is outside the, you're describing a noun that is what gender? Masculine. It will break its own paradigm declension. Kanya asti, girl is. Raga mukha. Okay, raga means red in this case. What is mukam? Mukam is a palam paradigm. Face, it could also be a jaw, it could be a mouth, but in this case, a face. So mukam is a neuter, but notice how the a is ending and qualifying a kanya, the girl, right? Because it says here, it's describing a noun outside the compound. Therefore, this is describing something outside the compound. It's describing the girl. So the girl is a redhead. That's not what it says. There's no, redhead. You're implying it. So how do you discover the meaning of a Bahuvrihi? That's the question, right? How do you actually, what's the formula for Bahuvrihi identification? One whose this is this. In other words, one whose head, one whose face is red. In other words, one whose last member is first member. That's the formula. First member would be green. One whose first member is last member. One whose face is red.
So the formula is one whose last member is first member.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, okay. So where does the kanya come in? The one who's...
Well, so girl is one whose face is red. The girl is one whose face is red. Therefore, the girl is a redhead.
Okay, the girl is... So the compound is one whose last member is first member.
Correct. That's the formula for the
Okay.
Bahuvrihi. Yeah. Generally, yeah.
Saha trinetraha. Trinetraha, the one who has 3 eyes, but actually it means Lord Shiva. So he is Lord Shiva.
Oh,
It's an
brilliant.
implied meaning.
Brilliant. Okay. Avyayi bhava. Okay. What is the last compound in Sanskrit after which there's no more compounds? It just means this. Indeclinable plus noun. For example, prati. Remember, prati is indeclinable, right? Every plus nisham, night, every night. And the whole word, prati nisham, will be one indeclinable. Therefore, it's not going to have a declension at the end. So prati nisham, that's it, every night. You don't decline it. Indeclinable or a prefix plus a noun. And the whole thing will be an indeclinable. For the most part. I know it says here adverb, that means it will decline, but for the most part, it will be an indeclinable. And these are actually kind of a cool ones because you don't have to decline it, right? It's just one word. So what's the use of knowing this? So next time you see, for example, a common one in the Gita is atyatma, right? That is a avyayi bhava. And it's always going to be atyatam because it's actually an indeclinable concerning the self.
So there is Adi Bhautik, Adi Bhautik, Adi
Adhibhautik.
Daivik.
Adhidavika, Adhidaivika, Adhibhautika, right. Yeah, good. These are typical avyayi bhavas.
But Andre, because indeclinables are certain specific words, can you also construct such avyabhavas using any combinations?
Yeah, you can, as long as it starts with a prefix.
Okay.
That's the rule.
Okay.
Which ones out of all of these are the most prevalent? Before answering, here's what we done. Dvandva, 2 types. Tat Purusha, 6 types. Bahuvrihi, that means its own category, and Avyayi Bhava, its own category. Okay, how about this? The most prevalent ones will be Dvandva, Itaretara, Tat Purusha, case TP, Karmadaraya, TPU, and Bahuvrihi. What do we know so far? We know Dvandvas well. We know case TPs and KDs well. Lesson 19, we will master TPUs. And number 3, we will also master. And that basically summarizes all compounds in Sanskrit. Lastly, I want us to go through the little red book. So what have we done? Elephant,
Yes.
army,
Yes.
sage,
Yes.
Yes.
Shuchi,
Yes.
Shruti,
Yes.
Yes.
Guru,
Yes.
Yes.
Mridu,
Yes.
Yes.
Dhenu,
Yes.
Dhi,
No.
No.
Nadi,
Nadi.
Yes.
Stri,
No.
Bhu.
No.
So it doesn't really matter that we haven't gone through the uncircled ones. You can still go them through yourself, and you can put them in the program whenever you wish. There's no more restrictions. It's not like if you haven't done it, don't use it. For now, there's no restrictions. Vadhu,
No.
No.
Rajan,
Yes.
okay, Atman,
No should
Yes.
become the.
Yes.
all right, Naman,
Yes.
Yes.
all right, Kartr,
Yes.
Yes.
Pitr,
Yes.
Yes.
Svastir,
Yes.
Matra,
Yes.
Manas.
No.
No.
Okay. Hastin.
No.
Good. Now this will be a very prevalent one. Hastin. This in ends in in. Dhanin.
No.
No. Okay. Marut. No.
No.
Vach. No. So these two, Marut and Vach, are the ones
No.
that end in consonants. Mud, Twad,
Yes.
Twad,
Yeah.
Twad.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't done all this. 43 and 44 we have done. This is basically class 1, 4, 6, and 10 of roots. Right, so all of the verbs that we have done so far belong to class 1, 4, 6, and 10. There's 10 classes of verbs in Sanskrit. We've only done 1, 4, 6, and 10, and they're the easiest ones, right? Nayati, nayate, that's it. Gachati, bhashate. And if you go to 43 and 44, you will find basically the imperfect and the present tense. Okay, there it is. So, yeah, okay, good. So Nayati, there it is, our, he leads. Imperfect, Anayat, he led. Imperative and optative, we have not done, right? This will be volume 2. And then you got now the Atmanepada, you got Nayate, right? Bhashate, and you got Anayat. Again, we haven't done imperative and optative. Look how class 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 5, 7, 9, 9, look how they have individual pages. Why? Because they're the complex verbs. These are the easy ones, the ones that we've done, 1, 4, 6, and 10. The complex ones all have rules of their own. Some rules are called reduplication and a lot of details to get through. So that's the little red book.